So let me ask you, if your car, would someone come up and slap an antique tag on your backside? And is it possible in your condition to go kayak fishing? Let's see. One way to make it easier to catch fish and to catch bigger fish is use a kayak to do it. With kayak fishing, you get to get up close and personal with the fish, and it's fantastic. My problem is I got a few too many miles on me, and that makes it difficult for certain things with kayak fishing. Let me explain. So in 2021, not too long ago, I replaced my shoulder. Then in 6 months later, I got my knee replaced. Then I got smart. A year and a half after that, I waited a whole year and a half. I got that shoulder replaced. So I've had quite a bit of work done. Do you think I can kayak fish? So the question is, after all that work, is it still possible to be an avid kayak fisherman? Is that humanly possible? Let's see. So you might ask yourself, how in the world did you get in that condition? Well, let me tell you. For the last 40 years, I've been in the heating and air conditioning business. And the last 35 of those 40 years, Mrs. Fishing Not Working and I, we owned a little heating and air conditioning company. It was a mom and pop company. We probably averaged 5 employees. And we're a small business in America. They still exist, believe it or not. Well, this last spring, Mrs. Fishing Not Working and I quit. We retired. Now, all these past years, we've been very fortunate. We've been very blessed. We've had very, very good employees. And I have a little buddy named Brandon. He worked for me. Brandon bought my business. Guess what? That means I get to go fishing. Now, Brandon brought his wife and his family in, and they are still a family-owned mom and pop business here in America. Like I say, they still exist. But before we go any further, I need to make it known. You're my witnesses. I tried to tell Brandon many, many times, your fishing and hunting life is now over. He didn't listen. Sorry, Brandon. Well, I got more time to go fishing, but I'm a little bit on the worn out side. So I've been watching YouTube the last few years, and I've been watching these guys kayak fishing and catching fish and big fish and numbers of fish. So 6 months, well, probably about a year ago, I found a used Hobie kayak on Facebook Marketplace. I drove up and bought it. I've had this all planned out. I got a service truck with a ladder rack on it, right? So when I sold my business, I kept my truck because the game plan is throw the kayak on the ladder rack and I'm gonna go fishing and I'm gonna live happily ever after, right? Well, hold up a little bit. It's not quite that way. Have you ever heard of the Americans for Disability Act? That does not apply to kayak fishing. So here's the first thing I figured out. Getting that 100 pounds of awkward kayak up on top of that ladder rack is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. It's doable, but it's very difficult. I quickly came to the realization that if I were to die trying to load that kayak, my fishing trip would be canceled. So I need to find a better way to haul the kayak. That's all there was to it. Okay, so I looked around. There's got to be a better way, an easier way to haul a kayak to and from fishing. Well, amazing to me, I found it. It's called a bed extender. Let me show you. Okay, here we go. That is a bed extender. Goes in your receiver hitch. Here's the alternative. That isn't that tall. That's probably 6.5 feet tall, but it's not easy. This is much easier. However, it's not what I call easy, it's just easier. Okay, well, that's half the battle won, and that's probably the biggest half. There are some other things, though, that get in our way. So, let me give you a suggestion. If you are a person that has a hard time sitting down because you got that antique tag on your backside, may I suggest you subscribe to my channel, because there's more to come. There's some things I've learned the hard way that might make it easier on you. But just so you know, it is possible to go kayak fishing with that tag on your backside. It works. So, until then, let me just say, do not let your age get in the way of doing what you love. Just make it happen. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks.